Good morning, this is Deb Watson, and in this little video I'm going to show you how I did a dark wash behind the candle. I'm using masking tape to mask out the sides of the candle and the bottom. And I've already wet the background. I've already wet the back side. Now I'm going to wet the front side. But this paper is damp in the back, and that's why it stays damp so long. I'm starting with lemon yellow. You notice very few brush strokes. I'm just using a soft brush to lay the colors on. Here's a little bit of Quinacridone Gold, and I forget which manufacturer that is. This is some of a brand new color that I'm trying. A friend on Facebook recommended it. It's Pyrrole Orange, and it's very transparent. Being transparent makes a big difference between having glowing, clean colors and muddy colors. And see, I'm not trying to move this around with my brush. I'm just applying it softly. I've got the water in this video too, so you can see how much water I'm adding or not adding. This is the raw Umber Violet. I talked about that when I talked about making my favorite black. And most of these paints are damp or right from the tube. Here's the black that I make with raw Umber Violet and Phthalo Blue. It's the most transparent black that I have, and I just love it. Okay, now that I have my color on there, I'm going to use gravity to let it mix a little bit. I'm not brushing it to death. I'm doing as few brush strokes as I can get by with. Here I'm adding a little bit more of that mixture, and I haven't added any water. You can see it's pretty thick. And I'm using a small brush because I don't want to add too much to that small area. I know I make this look easy, but don't worry if yours runs a bit. It takes a lot of practice to know how much water and how much paint to use. I'm going to lift some of that back up with a thirsty brush. But if you work wet on wet and layer your colors, especially with transparent colors, you're going to get a very nice, rich, dark blend. Here's a little more black, and I'm squeezing the brush so that it drops in without disturbing that wash. You see I have a little bit thicker paint there. Now I'm getting a bit of a ripple, but I'm not going to try to re-wet the back at this point. I'll just keep turning it so that I don't get an uneven wash where it's making hills and valleys in my paper. It's starting to look pretty good. I'm going to actually use my black. I'm going to mix a little bit more of the Phthalo Blue with that, because the whole thing is leaning very much towards warm browns, and I want to cool it off a little bit on the side so that it goes back in the distance. You can see now it's starting to run along the side there. But the back of my paper is still clinging to the cardboard. And I'm liking it. I think it looks great. Once you get it the way you like it, you lay it flat, and it'll pretty much dry that way. The main thing is not to brush it to death. You're not going to get the same effects if you try to control everything with a million brush strokes. Letting the colors mix on the paper and using gravity and water will give you 100 times better results. So if you want your paintings to glow like this candle, check out my website, especially the Watercolor School, the free materials lesson. I have lots of great tips in there, like how to mix your own black, and this will go in with it. Happy painting!